Okay, today's video, we are going to talk about Facebook's bid or bidding control. Basically, the options that Facebook gives you to determine how much you're going to be paying for a click. It could be also a like if you're dumb enough to do that. Or a lead conversion or a sales or purchase conversion through your website. So with that said, there's two major types, as you may know, or if you've been inside your ad account, you know when you go to decide how much you're going to pay for a click, for a lead, that there's the cost per result goal versus the bid cap. Those are your two options for deciding what you're going to be paying or how you're going to be paying for those ads. What I'm going to be telling you on this video is what's better. And the answer to that question is, it depends. First of all, I hate when people say, what it depends. That answer is bullshit. You can generally carve out what is going to be the case for most people. Or if there's a few different scenarios, what those few the main scenarios are and what the results typically would be in those main scenarios. That's how I'm going to cover with this video, like I usually do on this channel. And of course, sharing with you real information that we're picking up for clients at our PPC firm, knowing the stuff that works the best after testing it and bringing it to you on this channel. So that said, let's get into the content. Should you leave the bidding optimization or how much Facebook is charging you for your ads, or should you change to choosing your own bidding strategy itself? Should you change what you're doing and choose your own bidding strategy? So with that said, of course, you can let Facebook decide. You're still going to choose your objective for the campaign, whether it's traffic or sales or leads. You could technically say, I don't care what I pay for a click. I don't care what I pay for a lead. I don't care what I pay for a sale. And just turn the campaign on and let Facebook get you as many leads or as many sales or as many clicks as they could get you. For the most part, that's not a terrible strategy. If you have a good ad and a good landing page and a good offer, you need all three of those to get a Facebook campaign to work. If you're talking about marketing to cold traffic here, it'll work, regardless if you're setting a bidding strategy. That said, mostly everybody I talk to want to be able to, they're never satisfied, nor should they need to be. They want to get better results on an ongoing basis. And you're usually not very lucky to where you turn the campaign on and it's instantly profitable. You got to be able to push the numbers up. So with that said, the way that it goes is you typically are going to use where you're going to dictate what you're going to be paying, either per click or for a lead. And respectively, 99% of the time, in which I'm just going to cover on this video, is you're going to be deciding what you're going to be paying for a lead or pay for a sale, because that's going to get you the most profit from your Facebook campaign possible. So anyway, before you answer the question as to if you should let your campaign run open with Facebook deciding how much you're going to pay for that lead or sale or click, if you're doing that still, or you should go to manual bid targeting or lead cost targeting or sales cost or ROI targeting, you need to answer a few other questions first for yourself before you can answer that initial question of should you do the manual bidding or target cost per lead, target ROI, or just let Facebook do its thing and charge you whatever it needs to charge you and get you as many of the clicks or the leads or sales on their end as they can. And those questions, I have four basic questions that you have to be asking yourself as to whether you're going to do the automated bidding or the manual bidding there. So, and before I get there, I just want to throw out the disclaimer here. First of all, you want to optimize. So as you go to the section where it says, do you want the cost per, first of all, it'll say, specifically cost per result goal, and then you're supposed to set a target cost per lead or cost per sale. Target cost per lead if your campaign's objective is to get leads, or the cost per result goal would be the ROI if you set up the campaign's objective to get you sales. That said, no matter what, you want to start off your campaign in where it says to optimize for ad delivery, in that part right next to where where it says the cost per result goal, and then deciding if you're going to do it with automated or manual bidding there, you always want to select conversions for the highest quality traffic. If you just try to drive traffic to your site, Facebook's going to give you all the shit traffic, basically. Facebook can be able to filter the traffic down on their site by intent, just not as much as Google, but quite a bit. To where, like for instance, people don't know with Google, when you bid on red shoes as a keyword through Google search campaigns, Google's got all the data for all the people who's ever searched for red shoes through the history of searching for red shoes. They know what people buy versus don't buy, looking at their other advertisers' conversion tracking, who's got it set up. And they understand what visitor who's searching for red shoes is good versus bad, and what each subtype of person searching for red shoes is technically worth, and what's their potential for profitability to their advertisers. Facebook can do the same thing. As you know, they classify people into certain interest and subcategories for you to target. Within those subcategories, they know how engaged a person is. If a person is into weight loss, they know how engaged they are about weight loss. When they see a post about weight loss, do they like the post? If they like the post, they're going to get X percentage more likely to buy an item when presented an item. So, again, if you go in where it asks you to optimize for ad delivery and choose, you could do likes or website visits or conversions. If you don't select conversions, they're going to give you just the the inventory basically of all the people under your targeting settings that they can give you, which other people, when they have their things set up for conversions, they're going to give them the better quality traffic, and you having the objective set up to get website visits, you're going to end up getting a lower quality traffic overall. So in order to have success from right off the bat, you need to have under your optimize for ad delivery marked targeting conversions, so you're not getting the leftovers of the traffic. That's the number one thing you got to know as you're going to do your Facebook campaign anyway. And then along with that, obviously comes with, you got to have your tracking stuff together. You got to have your conversion tracking set up. People get in a hurry. Ooh, Facebook ads, let's do it. They don't set up the tracking first because it's complicated, at least for somebody who's never done it before. You got to have your leads tracked if you're doing lead generation. You got to have your sales tracked if you're doing sales generation. And if you're doing sales of a product over $100, you need both lead tracking and sales tracking, because a lot of people are going to call you first. This is not like optional if you want to make money, unless you're selling some groundbreaking thing that people have to have, like as much as smoking crack to crackheads. You need your conversion tracking to get your stuff to work. To know, of course, it's nice to know how it's working so you can stick with it and not say, I wonder if it's working or not. My bank account hasn't exploded, so I'm just going to shut this off. And that's what the typical person's going to do. But for Facebook to optimize and get you better results so that you eventually get your target cost per lead or cost per sale or ROI that you need. So you set up that conversion tracking before you ever get started. And also if you doing your conversion tracking, you'll get in. If you don't think your ads work, you'll have wasted all that money on ads that you've could have collected data. So in other words, and in summary with PPC always works. It's a matter of having enough data to make it work. Can you survive long enough to get the data required to know exactly how to run those ads? And for Facebook's algorithm to know exactly how to get you the exact type of people who generate a high return for your offer and for your company. Same thing goes for Google if you're doing Google. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, for the first question you got to ask yourself to know if you should do this automated or manual bidding. Basically, should you let Facebook decide how much they're charging you, or should you dictate to Facebook what they want you what you want to be charged, if you will? Are you generating mostly leads or sales? Okay, obviously with that, you have to have your campaign objectives set up correctly. If you're generating sales, you have the campaign objective actually be sales. If you're generating leads, have the campaign objective actually be leads. A lot of people, I don't believe it or not, do screw this up. Now, with that said, something less people are mentioning, if the product that you sell, even if you are selling and you're trying to get sales through like an e-commerce, website or whatnot, or selling a product where it's just like a straight sale type of situation. If your product is over $1,000, you should be generating leads and optimizing for leads. There's nobody that's going to be buying something over $1,000 from you without talking to somebody, for the most part. If you also have something where there's very low trust, you're selling a weight loss product, going back to that, very, very few people believe that. Or a hair restoration or hair regrowth product. Very, very people believe, no matter what you say, if you could say, in those situations, it's more about just getting them to believe it if you have something that works than, advertising what it does, so to say. In that case, you need to generate leads, and you need a longer sales process that's usually in multiple steps to convince them, because it's going to take it's a huge mountain to get them to the trust, and it doesn't all happen in one little shot unless you get like Oprah to use it. Then you can just say that and you're done. But most people don't have that kind of asset or a famous celebrity to say that it works, and even then, it's still not going to be enough unless it's like the top ones. If you have a complicated offer, you got something that's not easily to be conveyed and can be summed up in 4 or 5 words of what the value proposition is completely. Enough to get people to understand why it's worth the price that you're charging. You should be generating leads and then stretching out the sales cycle. Trying to do that with automation is great, but generally when you're starting out, you need to hit the profitability before you run out of money. You involve humans in that process to get the ball rolling, and then trying to automate with the cash that you have coming in with email autoresponder sequences and so forth. So anyway, as you're deciding if you are going to dictate to Facebook what you want to be charged per action, you got to make sure you're doing it for leads or sales and be in the right category there. That's why I brought that particular question up. Moving forward here, for the second question you have to ask yourself, have you done the math on your sales funnel? Whatever sales funnel that I talked about sales funnels just on the last step there, or last question I brought up. You got to know what your numbers are basically before you go in as well. So just as important as getting the tracking set up before you spend a dime on ads, you need to know what your numbers are. I have a spreadsheet at our firm at Guarantee PPC. I'm not trying to turn this into a pitch fest here, but every single project that I work on, doesn't matter what project it is, I have a spreadsheet where I put in there if we're generating leads, what we assume the click to lead rate is going to be, or conversion rate from click to lead, and then what the conversion rate from lead to sales is based upon historical lead closing data that we get from the client. And then we look at what the cost of goods is going to be. Of course, we work in there other like management fee costs that we charge the client. And then at the other side, if it doesn't show a profit, then we adjust our numbers. In other words, all we're trying to do is figure out, okay, at the end of the day, we know if we generate a lead for $30 with our costs, we're going to be at enough profit to cover all our basic expenses. So when you go in and you're going to set a target cost per lead or just watch for one, you know exactly what you're going for. And then it just becomes binary. Does it work or does it not? Do we have our $30 cost per conversion yet or do we not? And everything then is about just taking the data and using the data to get you down to $30 a lead, and then now you're making money. It's really that's what the pros are doing. If you're generating sales, though, it's the same thing. You've got to be looking at your product cost and what your overhead is, and then from your advertising, how many dollars worth of sales do you need per dollar in ad spend to be profitable after all your expenses? Figure all that shit out ahead of time. Well, and then so you're actually prepared to make money with your Facebook ads and not get halfway through it again and say, I wonder if it works. And then go into panic mode because you had a big client or a big customer that left or whatever, and you need to save some money and you shut it off when your campaign was almost ready to work and you spent all this time and money setting it up. And if you would have just waited a little bit longer you would have got over that threshold where it was profitable and then generated millions and millions and millions of dollars of sales on the other side of profitability. For the most part, it's very common, by the way, what we make in profit in 1 month, 4 or 5 years down the road of running a campaign, makes up for everything we wasted the first 3 to 6 months to get that campaign profitable. People don't think like this, though, as they're starting out doing PPC 90% of the time. They say, I want to get rich, I want to get rich now, and I'm not going to put very much work in. And therefore, 90% of the people fail. You got to think about it as I've mentioned many times on this channel, you know your number. Like I said, I got to get to 30 bucks per lead, or I got to get to $5 in sales for every dollar in ad spend. And from there, I only have our 20% of our goal the first month, but that's okay. So as long as we're at 25% of our goal the second month and 30% of the goal the third month, I am going to get there. And when I get this thing rolling and we scale it up, I'm going to make back everything I lost here the first year in 1 month's worth of profit in year 3. And as a small side, if you're selling the product, you got to be thinking about what's the lifetime value of the customer as well, by the way. Although that's another thing people screw up on. How many people are going to be reordering? What's the value of those purchases? And you got to work that into your numbers as well. Expecting somebody to buy the product one time and then make money, and then all that other stuff, you don't have to think about it. There's not very many offers and companies out there where we can say that's all we have to rely on. We usually have to look at what the lifetime value of the customer is. And therefore, you're not going to be able to scale your campaign up fast, but you start with a budget you can afford to not get a return on for a while, run it, wait for your customers to buy a few times. Once those customers mature, now you reinvest your money back into the funnel again. So anyway, with that said, have you done the math on your sales funnel? If you've done your math, with that said, the way that we run our campaigns to be the most efficient here, start off not setting a target cost per result, as Facebook calls it, or target cost per lead, or target ROI for our campaigns. Even if we've had campaigns running, anytime a campaign's new, we'll run it without unmetered, without a cost per, what they call it again is the cost per result goal. We'll just leave it blank, that field blank, so there's no target. It's just going to run. We'll see what the numbers are, and then after about a few hundred clicks, we'll go back and we'll put in that blank for cost per result goal, what our actual target cost per lead is, or if the cost per lead or the ROI of the campaign's way above where we need our cost per lead or ROI need to be profitable, we'll lower it in stages. So if we need the cost per lead, in other words, to be 30 bucks and we're at 200, instead of going from putting in the cost per result goal blank $30 a lead, we'll put 100, and we'll just work on 100. And the cost per lead's coming down. Again, we know this is a part of the game, and once we get to 100, we'll put it at 60 and then keep walking it down. It's more predictable in terms of what you see with the results than if you just put it at 30 right away. Things will bounce around a lot more. They'll be a lot more unstable. You can just trust me on that. You basically want to, at most, be 50% less than what your current numbers are at, and really it should be 25% less than what your current number should be in terms of what you put in that cost per result goal. And when you get it, you lower it another 25, another 25, another 25% until you reach your target cost per acquisition that you need. You need to be profitable with your sales funnel and your campaign. So, and the other reason why we leave it unmetered at first is because it'll make sure you get some data right away. If you put a target cost per conversion there, your campaign won't get up and going as quick. And you also, like I said, you're probably, put it this way, you're probably not going to get, like I said, going back to the start of the video, very rare when you turn a campaign on, it's profitable instantly. So, to put your target cost per lead or target cost or ROI that you want in that cost per result goal blank right away, the campaign's not going to run Right. It's very, very volatile. You're not going to get it anyway. And like I said, you're generally better just so you can get clicks quickly, let the campaign run. Once you start generating a couple hundred clicks, that's the point in time where you could say, okay, this is what we're getting. We'll set that target cost per lead or ROI target 25% less than what we're getting with the first couple hundred clicks. And then with that, the algorithm, Facebook's algorithm is going to get your cost per lead or ROI improved down to that new target, and then you can lower the target again. That'll be a nice, clean, clear, crisp walk from where you're at after the first couple hundred clicks to where your target cost per lead or ROI needs to be to be profitable where you did your math earlier. So it's just more, you're going to get to your goal quicker because you're going to set your initial data quicker, and after you get your initial data quicker, your results going from where you're at then, after the first couple hundred clicks, to your target cost per lead or ROI target that you need, it'll be a lot more stable and consistent in terms of, not getting $300 cost per lead one day and then 60 the other, and then 1,000 the next day. More consistent. It's a more consistent straight line walk from wherever you're at to your ultimate target, dropping it 25% lower than your current numbers at a time in terms of that target cost per lead and ROI target. So anyway, that's what we do to get initially some data and then to one step at a time walk it down and have the results be very stable as we're walking it down. Now, the third question to ask yourself to know if you should be doing the automated letting Facebook decide what they're charging you for a conversion, or you put a target cost per conversion, i.e. cost per lead or ROI target in the cost per results goal blank, is what is the price of the product you're selling or charging for? Is it in the 3 figures category? So if you're selling a product, going back to that, if you're selling something over $100 basically, know that basically the higher the product cost that you have, the less the conversion tracking is going to pick up. Why is that? The higher the price of product you have, the more the sales cycle window length or average sales cycle window length generally is, which if you don't know what that is, that's the average amount of time it takes from a person to go from initially, discovering or interested in an offer to the time that they purchase. If you have a candy bar you're going to buy, the average sales cycle window length is like a minute. If you're going to buy a house, the average sales cycle window length is a year. So, with all that said, and everything falls kind of between that window. If you're buying enterprise software, it can be 2-3 years, depending if it's $1 million software. So you get the general idea. The more expensive it is, the longer it's going to take the average person to buy. The longer it takes for the average person to buy what you're selling, the less the conversion tracking is going to be reliable and pick up the conversions. Why? Because when somebody comes to your site and they normally, because it's more money, it's a bigger decision, they got to think on it more first, just on average. No matter how good your landing page is, you're not going to fight that. You're just not, or maybe to some degree, but not very much. People are going to come back a later day to buy. Usually what happens is when they go to buy, they're going to go type your brand name into Google, and then they're going to click the organic result or the paid ad if you're running paid ads, which is why you should run paid ads so that they can find you easier at that initial point where they say, yes, I'm going to buy that product today. I got paid. I have my money. I'm here to buy. And then they can't remember the spelling of your brand name, and then you lost the sale. You want to show up there because people can't remember even what the name of the spelling of your company 3 weeks later. But then they go buy it there, and that's after the 30-day conversion window that your Facebook campaign is set up to track the purchases. Even if it's a week later that they usually buy, they could switch devices. They could be on a device or a browser that doesn't have cookies on there, which allows Facebook to track the user up to 7 days or 7 days after when they come back to your website and purchase. So the more likely it is they have to come back to buy, the less conversions you're going to see, and the longer it takes, the more times that they're going to probably have to come back, and more likely they are going to be switching device or be at a different location at that point, and therefore less conversion data you're going to see. So if you're using the cost per result goal and you have your campaign objective set up to target sales, therefore your cost per result goal is going to be there to put your target ROI that you want, whether that's a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5, representing 100% ROI, 200% ROI, 300% ROI, 400% ROI, 500% ROI. Just know that if you do your math ahead of time, like I told you need to be successful, and you know you need a 300% ROI, let's just say on the initial purchase, considering they're going to make an average of 4 more purchases over time, but if we get a 300% ROI on the front end purchase, we know we'll have that 800% ROI we really need when they buy on average of 4 times more. But the product price is $300. We may have to make some considerations there that we're not actually going to see a 300% ROI on that campaign. We may actually only see a 150% ROI, but the net reality is we really have a 300% ROI on that front end sale, because half of the sales don't get picked up by the conversion tracking, because on a $300 item, they average come back 90% of the time. They're not going to buy right away on the first visit, and it's going to be up to 3 weeks later. So with that, and that is a little bit tricky to account for, but the main thing is you could toggle the cost per result goal to see how that affects your revenue coming in. So basically, I do this all the time with Google as well. When you have a 3-figure or higher product cost, so basically in the 3-figure range, because if you're doing 4-figure plus, like I said, you've got to generate leads anyway. So if you're selling something between $100 and $1,000, if you're there, then you need, let's say, again, going back to the previous example, if you know you needed a 300% ROI and you're only getting 150% ROI, but it seems like, that you're not going broke, your bank account's not going down. What you can do is basically just try to do what I do and take the budget of that campaign and then double the budget, and then see how your bank account and your sales revenue flow coming in changes. If the sales revenue flow comes up so where you're making another 10% revenue after doubling the budget, make note of that. Then go and double the budget again and see if the sales revenue, your overall sales revenue that is, and we're not talking about singling anything out because you can't do that, but if you double the budget again, if it went up 10%, your overall sales went up 10% the first time you doubled it. The second time you double it, your overall sales should go up 20% this time. But if you double it again and your overall sales go up 20% already, well, then you kind of already know that your campaign is profitable instead of the 150% ROI that your campaign's showing inside of Facebook's conversion tracking and they're inside your ad account itself. But you're really getting the 300% ROI because of the conversions it's not picking up, and you're profitable already. Okay? If you are, basically at if you know that your let's say you need a 300% ROI and the Facebook campaign is showing 300% ROI, but your sales are really going up and you think you're getting actually more sales than what Facebook's showing, then what you can do is you could take that cost per result goal blank where you put your 300% ROI in there and it's getting it, but your sales are going up more than what it seems like Facebook's showing. What I would recommend to you at that point is to take that 300% ROI target and lower it to 250, and then carefully watch my sales and see how much my sales go up, and then factor that into how much more percentage-wise I'm now spending on Facebook. Because if you lower the cost per result goal when the campaign objective is sales, you're actually going to get more clicks and more action, more times your ads are eligible to show up in Facebook's ad auctions. And you can work out the math to see, okay, yes, the ROI is a little bit less, but we're getting this percent more sales. So therefore, with the margins that we have, it's worth it to actually take a slightly less ROI because we're still over our ROI target. Having the cost per result goal be at 250 knowing that we're actually getting more than the 250 there. We're actually probably getting a 400 when we have it set at a 250. And then you can keep doing that. What happens if we take the cost per result goal blank, which has our target ROI in there, and we lower it to 200%? Does it look like we're still making our bare minimum, profit margin on the sales that are coming in, and with the increased budget that Facebook's now letting our campaign spend? And you'll have to play around with that cost per result goal blank and the target ROI, or if you're doing lead generation, target cost per lead, to see what's the optimum setting for it once you're already profitable. So it's kind of like a lever. The more, the higher you are on the target cost per lead, the more leads you're going to get. But, of course, your ROI is going to start to go down. And then the target ROI, the same thing if you lower the ROI, target ROI setting there, target ROAS setting there. So you could use it like a lever, knowing in specifically the situations where, in particular, where your product cost is in the $100 to $1,000 range, and the conversions aren't all being picked up. You can go up and down and just watch how your bank account and sales flow coming in fluctuates, and try to piece together using the sales data, particularly looking at sales data, comparing it year over year for the same month, and how if your sales went up, is it more than what normally happens that month of that time of the year once you increased your budget a little bit? And if it worked out, increase your budget. And if you can't get any more clicks by raising your budget, you have the second lever, which is being able to lower your target ROI to get even more clicks, and see if that's going to help you generate more sales at a profitable cost per sale. Okay, so that's kind of technical, but I wanted to point that out too. Now, there's a fourth question to ask yourself here to wrap this up, in terms of letting it up to Facebook decide how much they're going to charge you for a lead or for a sale, or set your own targets. Is this remarketing traffic or first click traffic? Everything I was talking about so far basically was about first click traffic, i.e. non-remarketing, or people who've never seen or heard of your brand before, essentially, or at least never been to your website. And with that, even with just trying to do remarketing, and a lot of times with our remarketing, if you've heard me talking about this before, we're going to have ads that just say, this is our reviews on Trustpilot. Look at this testimonial from this customer. And the action of the ad is not supposed to get a sale as much as it's supposed to influence a user to be more likely to buy that found us on Google search or a similar situation as that. So we're not looking for a specific ROI from it directly, even though the ROI usually on that stuff is pretty good. If you are doing remarketing traffic and you're not trying to get a sale, I'm still going to make sure under the optimize for ad delivery setting, you select conversions, even if you're not trying to get a conversion directly from that remarketing ad. And also, even if you're just promoting content to warm up a user for like a longer sales funnel, I'm still going to use the optimize for sales delivery conversions, because you'll get whatever conversion data you have. We'll make sure the future clicks that you get actually are more of the type that you want in general. And you could toggle the cost per result goal, the cost per result goal blank, where you put your target cost per lead or target ROI setting there with the remarketing, knowing that you're not going to get a very, like if you're looking for, from your campaigns that are supposed to drive direct action to cold traffic, you need a 300% ROI, going back to our previous example. On the remarketing, you don't need a 300% ROI, because the remarketing ad that you show doesn't ask the user to buy, or it's just meant to warm up the visitor. I'm still going to then, even in that situation with the remarketing, where we're not trying to go for a direct sale, set up the optimize for ad delivery setting to conversions, and use the cost per result goal blank to put a target ROI setting in there, so that, again, Facebook's still trying to give us higher and higher quality traffic, even though that cost per result goal blank, where we put our target ROI there, is probably going to be much less of a ROI requirement than our campaigns that do ask for direct action that we have set up for cold traffic or cold visitors. Because in a lot of cases, a remarketing ad that just has a testimonial on it, it will get, it'll show the ROI of 25% of what a campaign that asks you to buy the product straight out. But it has, again, a purpose to warm up other traffic so you can then later on ask for a sale. Or again, they came from Google. You spent $10 to market to them on Google to get to your website from a certain keyword. And as they're on Facebook, you want them to see your testimonial. If you know your other campaigns are getting a 300% ROI, you could put your target ROI for your remarketing campaign at like 50%. It's better than leaving that cost per result goal blank, because Facebook will have no way to optimize for better quality traffic. And so I would still use a target ROI setting there. It just may be different than your target ROI and what you put in that cost per result goal blank than you do on your first click or cold traffic campaigns. So anyway, that's I wanted to throw that in there as well. It depends if you're doing cold traffic or remarketing, how you're going to handle what you put in the cost per result goal blank. But as you see, what you've seen here throughout the whole video was only at the very, very start of a campaign do we let Facebook decide how much they're charging us. We always are going to optimize for ad delivery, have that setting be conversions. We're going to, most of the time, once we had a couple hundred clicks on our campaign, then set the cost per result goal blank, either target cost per lead if we're doing lead generation, or ROI, target ROI if we're doing sales generation, to 25% less than our current cost per lead or ROI, to lower and have Facebook's algorithm get us a lower cost per lead or higher ROI, and then do that in 25% increments until we get to our goal. And once we've gotten there, we may want to explore if the conversion tracking picks up all the conversions. If we have a higher priced product, it probably don't. And we play with that cost per result goal, target cost per lead or target ROI setting to potentially get us more clicks from that same campaign, and watch how that influences our sales to absolutely wring out the every last bit of value out of that campaign we built, as we can with raising or lowering a budget, because it gives you more or less traffic based upon how high or how low your target cost per lead or target ROI is. But we always use the cost per result goal blank, and so we're going to be using cost per results in every campaign, because that's going to be able to get you the best traffic. And using Facebook's algorithm about monitoring all the traffic that they have, they know what people are more motivated to buy versus others, but based upon what they've clicked on in the past, what they said, certain websites they went on with Facebook's tracking code that's on there for liking the page or sharing the page, for other advertisers that put the Facebook conversion tracking pixel where they got data that way, and Facebook buys data from other websites where they can get data about Facebook users while they visit other websites. And as the bid cap is brought into the equation to really round out this discussion, I don't use the bid cap, because with the bid cap, you're not actually getting the benefits of the algorithm working for you to get and try to figure out, of all the people that you could market to in a certain interest group, are the best candidates within that interest group that have the highest ROI and can get you closer to the ROI that you need or the cost per lead that you need. So bid cap, maybe they have it there for people who, I only want to pay $2 a click. It's only worth $2 a click, but you're not going to get any optimization of within your interests, which ones Facebook should be serving up to you and which ones they shouldn't. And where there's a really good opportunity, being able to charge you a little bit more when somebody's 4 times as likely to convert into a sale, than being able to charge you twice as much. But if you have a bid cap, that opportunity isn't there for you, if you get my point. The same thing as it applies on Google with the automated bidding there. They look at everything that, like I said, that person's done over the lifetime basically of having a Google account. They know statistically how likely somebody is to buy when they search for XYZ versus another user, because they've watched every user, compared their user behaviors together. And when you say that you only spend so much per click, they know that they're going to sell that person who searched for that thing in that specific opportunity, that person, when they search for that keyword, for more money, because they know it's 4 times more likely to convert based upon prior data from all the users who've made that similar search in the past. You're just not going to be eligible to bid on it, because the person with the automated bidding and more freedom to actually bid higher for that one really good opportunity, the other person gets it. So the same thing applies with Facebook, essentially, with their algorithm and how their ad auction system works and everything. So that answers the question directly: cost per results goal versus bid cap. What's better? What you want to do, how you want to set this up specifically for your Facebook campaigns. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel. Anything you think I should have covered or otherwise, I'll be happy to answer your questions about this topic or otherwise. Beyond that, if you liked the video, you should consider giving it a like and thumbs up and subscribing, because I have a ton of other content on this channel where I go through specific money-making strategies, not just need to know things but that can make you money, but specific campaigns you can run driven from all the few dozen clients, PPC clients we have at our agency. So this isn't just me speculating here. This is active working stuff that's working, brought to you on this channel. The best information that I know of on YouTube about actual actionable advice, how to make money with Google Ads, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so forth, including landing pages and conversion rate optimization. Beyond that, I also, by the way, have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build PPC campaigns the way that we build them for clients here and that we've found work the best for us. So if you want a little bit more detailed information on how to build campaigns that make money, you can find a lot of great information there, all written by myself as well. Last thing I'll also mention as well, we opened a new program where we have turnkey Google ad campaigns that are profitable, as well as some Facebook campaigns where businesses in one market that you wouldn't be competing with, if you want to run a similar business in another market, we can actually sell you the turnkey campaign, working, ready to go, that's been optimized over several years of time and generating X number of sales cost per lead, ROI, with the campaigns, with the landing pages that we can hand over to you for a certain flat rate, in which you could turn into a business right away, either by offering that service or product or outsourcing it to another partner and just taking a cut of every sale. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, we have quite a few markets where we can do that now, having worked with hundreds of different campaigns in the past now. Contact myself at Guaranteed PPC. I'll give you the lowdown about that. Beyond that, hope you enjoyed. Like I said, hope to see you on the next video where we have another great PPC strategy and stuff that you can take advantage of or to avoid, pitfalls to avoid, and they're going to lose you money on your campaigns as well. See you there.